Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first season, first episode on September 1st of Books and Brew. I decided to start this series because this time of year is just witchy season for me. If you're new here, hi, I am obsessed with all things witchy. Witchy books are some of my favorite fantasy books to read, and even just like magical realism, historical fiction, nonfiction. I did put out a witchy video last year of over 10 witchy books that I recommend, but I have read over like 30 or 40 witchy books at this point, and I'm continuing to read. I already have a TBR for this fall of witchy books that is like miles long. So I have endless amounts of witchy books to talk to you about. Some of them are more serious, some of them are just cute and cozy. Like I said, some of them are more horror or historical fiction or even nonfiction. But they all have one thing in common, and that is that they are centered around witches and the long-standing depiction of witches. And if you haven't been here to have this discussion with me before, the reason why I love talking about all things witchy is because I believe that witch and witchcraft is just another name for being feminist, practicing feminism, that pretty much any time in history that a woman threatened the patriarchy or began to have more knowledge or power than the men around her, it was quite common for that woman to be called a witch or to be accused of witchcraft, something that would make people scared of her, something that would secure female oppression, that would perpetuate the patriarchy and all of the power that men have in our society. And I am a feminist, so I have just been drawn to this as soon as I started really learning about it and understanding what witches symbolize. I wanted to start my own holiday, if you will, my own witchy holiday season where all we get to talk about is witchy things on my channel. So this is the beginning of Books and Brew, which is going to be a daily vlog, or at least as much as I possibly can. A few days might get skipped here and there, but I'm going to try to vlog every single day, even if it's only for like 5 minutes. We are going to gather every day with our witch's brew, whether it's coffee, tea, your water, your morning protein shake, your evening tea, whatever it may be. We are going to gather with our witch's brew, and we're going to talk about witchy things. Today, I have a book recommendation for you. Like I said, I will be reading so many witchy books this month, and I plan to talk to you about them, make recommendations, tell you what books to pick up, what I thought, pretty much like I said, for any genre. So if this sounds good to you, make sure you subscribe so that you can be here every day during Witchtember to talk about these books with us. Okay, so go ahead and grab your brew and hurry right back for today's Books and Brew. I really just want this series to be pretty casual, just like a daily check-in while I'm having my morning or evening coffee. Yes, I drink coffee at night. I have ADHD. It does not keep me up at night like it does for other people. So I love my after dinner coffee, or sometimes I will drink a tea, especially in the fall time. I really enjoy tea to wind down. That's generally what's in my cup. Right now, it's a cup of coffee. So today I wanted to share with you a fun witchy book that I just finished. It was an ARC from NetGalley called Witchy Wood. And I will put a copy of it here on the screen because it was a digital ARC that I received and it hadn't been released yet. So I don't have a physical copy, but I believe it's either released now or will be releasing this month. We're going to look up the release date. Hang on. Why doesn't it say? Hate when I can't find information that I want. Okay. While I'm looking this up, let me tell you something else that I loved about this book and that I'm going to really try to do throughout this series. I love books with representation, whether it's disability representation, sexual orientation representation, different races and ethnicities, you name it. I love representation because, again, witchiness is all about those who are different from society. It's always the outcasts, right? So it's always people who need representation that are the most witchy of all. This book takes place in Miami, Florida, with Cuban. At least one of them is Cuban. I can't remember if the guy is, but the girl is Cuban. They're both Latino, though, and they both speak Spanish and have Latin American heritage. Oh, yeah. So this actually comes out tomorrow, September 2nd. So definitely be ready for this one, especially if you love cute, cozy, witchy, like rom-com type of books to get you in the fall mood. This one is really great, okay? I actually really, really enjoyed it. So again, it's Witchy Wood by Leah Amador. You can look up the synopsis on Goodreads or Amazon or anywhere that you want. But let me tell you kind of what my thoughts were on this. So the premise of this book, first of all, it takes place in Miami, Florida. It's got a very strong representation of Latin American culture, specifically Cuban culture, because our main female character, she is Cuban, and there's a lot of representation in the book of the culture and of the language. The narration is fantastic. 5 stars for the narration. And I gave the book overall 4.5 stars, which is really good for like a rom-com for me, because that is not my general, that's not a genre I read very often, and it's not my genre of choice. So I don't give out 5 stars very often in that arena. I really, really enjoyed this one. I was very impressed. Especially if you have a Cuban or Latin American background, you may really enjoy this, but I would highly recommend anyone to read it because it has such amazing representation. They do speak a little bit of Spanish in it. There's some like colloquial phrasing in it that I'm not familiar with, but you might be if that is your heritage. So I really had a lot of fun with that. And it felt very realistic, and I was very immersed in it and became very attached to the characters. They felt like very real people because of that. So definitely all the kudos to the narration. So I would recommend this as an audiobook if you like to listen to audiobooks. Right now, that's like mostly how I consume my books, so you're always going to get my audio opinion. Anyhow, basically the premise of this is we have Penelope, who is a spell tech working at a spell shop where they sell ingredients for casting spells. She works for the lady who's the owner. She's worked there for like over 10 years, and she knows everything there is to know about the ingredients. She basically runs the entire shop, but doesn't really get paid for it appropriately, and she gets no credit from the owner. Like the owner just basically takes her for granted, like takes advantage of her and just doesn't give her any credit and treats her like crap. But she doesn't really have any other options. This is what she knows. This is how she pays her bills. But she does have a dream to be more, and she gets an opportunity to go on a celebrity, like a spellcasting reality TV show where street people, like regular everyday people, are paired up with famous celebrities. So celebrities who are famous spellcasters. These are celebrities who are like famous witches, and this is taking place in contemporary times. This is like a contemporary rom-com with magical realism. So the only difference is I would consider it like a contemporary rom-com, except for that magic is normal in the book. It is everyday life. Witches are everywhere. Magic is normal, but it's in contemporary times. Okay, so that's the setup. So Penelope has got to get out of this awful situation that she's been in with working at this spell shop. She's super smart. She is a spell tech where she basically knows everything about the ingredients, knows how they interact, knows how to modify ingredients in order to get different outcomes. She's just like super smart. She's basically like a chemistry genius when it comes to doing spells. And because she's been running the shop, she has been responding to emails, and she strikes up kind of this ongoing conversation with a customer through the business email where she starts to develop kind of this relationship with this guy. They email back and forth. She has a major crush on him, okay? But she has a little falling out with her boss right before she's about to go on this show, and she gets fired. And that means that now she also doesn't have access to that email and has no way to get in touch with the guy that she's been emailing. And she has a huge crush on him, and they've been emailing back and forth for like 4 months. So she's pretty devastated and doesn't know what she's going to do. But she goes on the show, and for a while she has to have no contact with the outside world because it's a reality show. She can't give anything away. But while she's in there, she's plotting and planning how she's going to be able to find the guy, like get into the email and find the guy. And now because she's lost her job, it's really important that she wins this TV show, that she is the final winner, because they get a cash prize that she is really counting on now to kind of move herself forward in life. Now, she gets paired up with this guy who is the celebrity, and he is a very interesting character. I really liked that he was our main character because he was written the way that women are often written in these rom-com books. In real life, he comes from a very well-known magical family that has a lot of credibility, but he kind of fell into this career where he got famous for being silly, like just being like a ditzy witch who does everything wrong and like casts a spell, but it never comes out the way it's supposed to, but it always ends up funny. He does like children's entertainment, and this has become his entire persona. And because he's built his entire career on this and become successful at this, he feels like he can never be himself, who is intelligent and isn't, ditzy, who knows exactly what he's doing. And because this is the persona that he carries, he doesn't really get the respect that he deserves from the community. Nonetheless, he's still famous, and he is the celebrity that she's paired with. Now, Penelope disdains this guy. She doesn't really know him, but she knows his character, right? She knows of his show, she knows of his magic, and this is like the worst possible scenario for her to get paired with this guy. It is not what she wanted. It's not who she wanted to be paired with. It was not what she had in mind for going on this show. And she loathes this guy because she is very like type A about spell casting, about everything being just like perfect, the perfect ingredients, the perfect amount. Everything has to be exact. She triple checks everything, She's super, super smart. Yeah, just very like type A. And in her mind, this magician is just chaos personified. He is just a mess walking around, an accident waiting to happen, and it's basically her worst nightmare. So she is just really devastated that this is the celebrity that she's been paired with. But in order to make it to the final show and to become the winners, she has to find a way to like connect with this guy and work with him and be likable by the audience and by the judges on the show. And so she basically has to swallow her pride and swallow her opinions about this guy and try to make it work because this means a lot to her. And she's afraid that because he's so accident prone, that he's so ditzy, that he's going to ruin her chances. And she is like determined to make sure that doesn't happen. But again, like I said, this is just a persona. So she does not realize she's judging this guy the same way the rest of the world has. And what she doesn't know is that the guy that she's paired with, who she absolutely cannot stand, is the same guy that she's been emailing at the shop under a different alias, getting a crush on. So obviously she doesn't know that. We know that in the audience. And Leandro, who is the main male character, that's his alias name, Leandro. That's the magician's name. He figures it out. He figures out very early on that Penelope is the same girl from the shop. So he knows that she's the same girl that he's been crushing on, that they've been emailing back and forth. But she doesn't know. And he feels like he can't admit that to her or tell her, because in order to do that, he would have to break his character, which he feels like would be a blow to his career, especially on this show, this reality TV show that they're in the middle of. So he can't risk it. So there's tons of chemistry between them because obviously they had chemistry before the show, even though she doesn't realize it's the same guy. But there's also this they have this love-hate relationship going on because they're naturally have this connection. But also Penelope can't stand him because she thinks he is like the worst magician ever because she doesn't really know who he is and what he's capable of. So that's kind of the premise of this book. And I just loved that because I feel like a lot of times female characters are written to be that ditzy person who isn't respected, who is only, judged based on their appearance and not so much what they can offer, their intelligence and all of that. And I really liked seeing that put on a man in a book. It was really, really interesting. I quite enjoyed it. Okay, I thought this book was hilarious. I laughed several times. I loved the characters. Like I said, the audio was great, so I was completely immersed in it. Again, 4.5 stars for the overall story, 5 stars for the narration. It was fantastic. And if you want a silly, fun, light rom-com to get you in the witchy fall mood, then this may be it for you. So I would highly recommend. Okay, you guys. That's my little bit. I've been talking and not drinking enough of my brew. It's getting cold, but hopefully you've been drinking yours while you've been listening to me yap. I'm really excited to be starting this little series here on my channel. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is something that you're interested in. If we can, have our little coffee date every day together. I'm looking forward to sharing more witchy thoughts, witchy books, little bits and pieces about what's going on in my life, like an inside look at my life on a day-to-day basis, getting ready for fall, for Halloween. I love this time of year. It's like still warm outside, but starting to get into that fall feeling. The leaves are just starting to change. The kids are back in school. We're getting back into a routine. I love it. And I definitely feel all the witchy vibes this time of year. I'm going to start decorating, so I will probably share some of that with you guys. I'm going to get out all of my witchy decorations. I've already pulled out all of my fall mugs, so you will see as we go through this vlogging series, many of my fall mugs. It's the most, if you've been around at all, I have an obscene amount of mugs. They just make me happy. It's the simple things, you guys. I love my cute mugs, and I love rotating them in and out for the seasons, but no season has more mugs in my cupboard than fall. I have so many fall mugs, and not just fall, but like witchy themed. So yeah, anyways, my plan here is to pretty much do morning coffee with you guys, at least Monday through Friday. These will probably be morning vlogs. So I'm looking forward to having coffee with you guys. Again, if this sounds good to you, make sure you subscribe below if you're not already. Give this a thumbs up if you like the idea of this. And if you don't know what to say, but you want to let me know that you're here and you're here for a witchy good time, why don't you leave a spider emoji in the comments? Because yeah, I hate spiders, but it's definitely a witchy thing, right? Okay, I love you guys so much. I'm so excited to be spending this Witchtember season with you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.